Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? A little bit different today. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Okay, this is pretty strange. This thing got 4 likes with no people. So let's see how it goes. 5 likes, 2 people. I don't know how that's working, but today you see we kind of changed up the setup here today. Marco's getting technological with me today. So we got a little bit of a different setup. We got ourselves a nice webcam, I think. And y'all can see me clearly. So you jinxing it. Oh man, nobody's jinxing anything. I don't believe in that. You guys can see me clearly. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? So I'm trying to get used to this kind of new setup. So I'm getting used to looking at the 2 screens. So when I look down, this means I'm reading some comments. So let's wait for everybody to get in here. Let's get the likes up before we get started. I'm sure a lot of you have been looking forward to this live today. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. I can feel a lot of depressed people out there, but we're gonna get through it. 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 We're gonna get through it today. We're gonna get through it today. What a night. What a night. What a night. What a game. What a game it was. What a game it was. So let's wait for everybody to get in here. Let's give it a few minutes. Let's allow people to what's the word? Let's allow people to catch up to this live. We like to give it a few minutes before we start. Depression sucks. Yeah, I know what you guys mean, man. I know what you guys mean. I know what you guys mean. So let's just get it going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. So let's wait for you guys to come on in here. Let's wait for more people to come on in here. Let's wait for more people to come on in here. Phoenix Suns in 7. All right, that's right. The Lakers and the Suns are going to be playing today. So let's give it a few more minutes. Let's allow people to come in. Make sure you guys check in when you're coming in. Boban the GOAT. Make sure you guys check Nixon 7. Yo, all right. So let's just wait a little bit longer. Let's give it a few minutes. Allow everybody to catch up to this live. We're going to have a lot of fun today with this one. So let's give it a few minutes and then we get started. Let's give it a few minutes. You're starting to believe that the Clippers organization is cursed. Man, do not believe that the Clippers organization is cursed. How many teams in sports have never even won a title? I don't think it's anything has to do with cursed. But then again, who knows? How you guys doing? Also, that's right. Say what's up to Marco. Marco's also in here. Say what's good to Marco while we wait for everybody to file in. So let's wait for everybody to come on in. Candace, how you doing? Let's wait for everybody to come in. And then we'll get it started. Let's give it a few minutes. Make sure you hit the likes and then we just get it going. Let's wait for everybody to come on in. Let's give it about 2 more minutes and then we get it started. Just trying to get used to this new setup here. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Kawhi Leonard and PG made bad decisions down the stretch. Luka with 14 assists is a problem. Whoever cares. Okay. Yeah, let's wait for everybody to get on in here. Let's give it about another minute or so. Let's wait for about another minute or so. Let's wait for everybody to come in. These lives, for some reason, I don't know what the case is. Whenever we do these lives, seems like people always kind of miss it or people are kind of behind. So there's a different time zones everywhere. I think people on the East Coast right now should be around 12:30 in the afternoon. People in LA, I think you guys should be what? You guys should be 9:30 in the morning going on 10. So let's just wait a little bit longer. Let's give it about 1 more minute before we get started, and then we'll get it started. Just about 1 more minute. Let's allow everybody to catch up. And then once we hit the likes, so we get as many people in here, and then we get it going. Let's give it about another 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, and we'll get it started. And then we will get it started. I'm sure a lot. See? Okay, it's 10:30. 10:30. 10:30. Okay, 10:30 is fine. 10:30 is fine. 10:30. 10:30 is not bad. I'm sure most of you guys are up. 10:30 is fine. 10:30 is fine. People are going to catch up. Hawaii is 7:30. Wow. HEDA, thanks for that, man, for being a part of this at 7:30 a.m. Wow, that's That's bananas, man. 12:30 in Jamaica. I'm assuming that's the afternoon. YouTube doesn't send out your notifications. Yeah, I know. YouTube sometimes does that. I don't know why, but we're not the only platform that has this issue. So again, guys, if you guys have difficulties receiving notifications, please make sure you hit the notification bell on our channel to ensure that you give yourself the best opportunity to receive a notification, because there's some people that do have it turned on, like Candace and others, and they don't receive the notification. So just make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Okay, and we'll get started in about 10. We'll get started in about 10, 15 seconds, and we'll get it started. We'll get started. Both LA teams down 2-3. Crazy. Yeah, I know it's crazy. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk that both LA teams could possibly go out in round one? Who would have thought? And I thought these were the two best teams in the Western Conference, by the way. But hey, from Algeria, wow, thank you from all the way out there. Okay, so make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like so we get more notifications, so we get more people, so more people get notified and we get started. Okay, real quick, if you guys want to live chat during the playoffs, we're still going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that tonight, again, for that Lakers-Suns game, but you can do it for whatever game you want. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, our online sports community. You can chat live during games, talk about basketball, so many of the cool things. So Marco's going to put that in the description. Marco's going to put that in the comment section, so you guys can definitely check that out. Again, for the people that are probably going to miss this live and catch it after the live, that's going to be in the comment section, in the description, sorry. So that's going to be there. So you guys can definitely check that out and get 7 days of access. So, okay, he just posted it there. Okay, anyway. So let's get into this. Okay. Got a lot of stuff I want to talk about. So last night, I saw the game. Like all of you guys, I saw the game. Now, obviously, I'm not going to have the same reaction that Skip Bayless had, because Skip Bayless, I don't know. Skip Bayless, one day he's on the clip. Well, Skip Bayless has been, in the beginning of the playoffs, Skip Bayless was very, 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 assured. He had a lot of assurance in himself that the Clippers are going to win it all. Then I think after game 1 or game 2, he quickly backed off of that. And then I think the Clippers, after they tied the series, he now became a little bit more trepidatious. I think he picked the Clippers to win game 5, but he wasn't sure. I think Shannon Sharp did pick the Clippers. I think most people could pick the Clippers, right? Most of us picked the Clippers to win that game. Most of us did. So going into that game, I watched that game, and I'm going to give you guys a good breakdown of what I saw. Then I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts, and then we can move forward to the next game and then prepare for the following game. So I'm just going to give you guys my raw thoughts, what I think, and then we can get into it. So, okay, first of all, when the game started, at the beginning of the game, I was quickly kind of confused at what was happening. As soon as the game started, I thought, okay, it was going to be business as usual. Then I looked at the Clippers starting 5, and I said, okay, they're still playing small ball, which makes perfect sense because it's their small ball that really helped them get back in this series to tie it up 2-2. So I said, perfect. This is the perfect strategy. I like the fact that it didn't change what was working. Then I looked across the court and I looked at the Dallas Mavericks starting 5, and I noticed that the Dallas Mavericks elected to go big, like really, really big, like Boban big. They decided to start Boban Marjanovic. I hope I pronounced his last name properly. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, they played him in spurts in game 4, and they weren't really successful with that. So I said, okay, they're going to start Boban. You're going to start Kristaps Porzingis. So now you have 2 players that are 7 feet tall, and then they kept their other 3-man starting lineup rotation. I think with Tim Hardaway Jr., Luka Doncic, and I forgot the other guy that they have starting, Maxi Kleber, I think. Then the game started, and then I was like, okay, this is interesting. Then the Mavericks did another thing that caught the Clippers off guard, apart from them going big. The second thing they did was, apart from going big, was they decided that they were going to basically play zone defense for the entire game. They were going to go zone. Rick Carlisle and their coaching staff realized that they needed to make an adjustment. They realized that. And after game 4, to be completely honest with you, the reason that I thought the Clippers would never lose another game this series was because I didn't think that the Dallas Mavericks had any other adjustments that they could make. I'm like, okay, so what's the other adjustment they're going to make? They tried to go big, they tried to go. So what else could they do? And boy, oh boy, did they have another adjustment up their sleeve. And Rick Carlisle and his coaching staff really caught the Clippers, and they certainly caught me off guard. If they caught, I know they caught me off guard, and I'm sure they caught the Clippers players off guard, and they caught the Clippers coaching staff off guard. Now, I don't know if the Clippers kind of sat back over the last 2 days and said to themselves, okay, what could be a possible counter that the Dallas Mavericks could throw at us to kind of throw this thing off? I don't know if they went through I don't know if they simulated those type of things. I don't know if Ty Lue and his coaching staff kind of went through the mental gymnastics of trying to understand. I don't know that. So they came out there and they went big. And then they started to play a zone. Now, what the zone did was something that I didn't see coming. By them going big and playing the zone, what the zone did was it forced all of the Clippers players to play on the perimeter, and it forced them to make shots outside of the paint. If you guys remember, over the last 2 games, the Clippers totally demolished. They demolished the Dallas Mavericks in the paint. A lot of those baskets that they had going to the paint was really where they did all of their damage. Talking about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. It was just like barbecue chicken all day long. So, but by them playing the zone stops all of the penetration, the dribble penetration, and it forces you to have great ball movement and great player movement to make cuts, to kind of puncture the zone defense, to be able to try to get behind the defense, to get some to get some backdoor layups, which the Clippers were doing. Now, some people may say to themselves, well, this is an NBA team. They should be able to play against a zone. Yes, an NBA team can play against a zone. However, if you throw a zone defense at a team that they're not prepared for, it will take them a while to kind of adjust to the zone. It's not like as if, okay, they play the zone. Okay, this is what we're going to do. You have to make an adjustment. So after the Dallas Mavericks started playing the zone, and they tried to keep Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the perimeter, I said to myself, I hope, I pray that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George don't settle for those long jump shots and those long threes. Because if you're settling for that, you're playing into the Dallas Mavericks' hands, and the Dallas Mavericks are going to play the percentages, number one. So the game already switched over to their favor. This is all due to the credit of Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff. This thing was this is a chess match. So after the first quarter, the Clippers, their offense was in complete disarray. The zone completely chopped up their offense. It stopped them from getting into a rhythm. If you looked at the game, if you go back and look at that first quarter, the Clippers are having difficulties getting shots up, meaning like, again, points up on the board. This is what I was noticing. At the end of the first quarter, I said to myself, and I said it on Dreamerspro Max, I said that the coaching staff is going to need to make an adjustment. But now they're going to have to start making adjustments on a quarter-to-quarter and play-to-play basis, because now you have to try different things to kind of solve the adjustments that the Dallas Mavericks made. So at the end of the first quarter, I said to myself, okay, what are the Clippers going to do to kind of combat what Dallas is doing right now? Because for me, I had no answers. I couldn't think of anything that they could do. Going into the half, I sat back and I thought to myself, I said, I don't know what the Clippers can do. Because at a certain point, you see Ty Lue had to bring in Zubac, which was the whole thing that Rick Carlisle really, really wants. Because when Zubac is in the game, it's not that just Luka is searching for him when he's looking to score. That's not the only thing that he's doing. By him searching for Zoo and him getting the switch, it causes the Clippers defense to tilt. And the minute it tilts and it starts to rotate, then you're in jeopardy. Players start scrambling, and then you start getting those open three-point shots, which is what buried the Clippers in game 1 and game 2, and especially in game 3 in that first quarter, when they ultimately elected to go small. Then things started to change in the middle of that first quarter. Because remember, Ty Lue sat down Ivica Zubac after playing 3 minutes and 44 seconds in the first quarter of game 3. So that was that. So the Mavs completely took the Clippers out of rhythm, and he forced them to make perimeter jump shots. Now, to the credit of Paul George kept on attacking the basket. He kept on trying to make his way in between the seams and get to the basket. But overall, the Dallas Mavericks adjustment worked, because guess what? The Clippers in game 5 ended up attempting 36 three-pointers. 36. And they ended up making, 14? So they shot, 36.8% from the three. In game 2, they attempted 33, and they made, game 4, excuse me. They attempted 33, made 13, and they shot 39.4%. So they were able to shoot 3 percentage points higher from the three-point line. So I think, because a lot of people were saying, what about Kawhi? What about Kawhi? Why isn't Kawhi playing better? Why isn't Kawhi Leonard playing better? Why isn't Kawhi Leonard playing better? I think Kawhi Leonard was caught off guard by that zone. I think he was used to attacking the defense, and now he was trying to find the creases and the seams to get his offense, because that's what the zone does. It makes it very hard for you to pick your spots and get to your spots to get a clean look at the basket, because pretty much wherever you go, you're seeing two defenders if they're running the zone properly. So Kawhi Leonard was having difficulties getting clean looks, and he was out of a rhythm for pretty much the entire game. In the second half, what I noticed was Kawhi Leonard started to try to force some shots to try to get his offense going. But by that time, Dallas had already accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. They already did. The Dallas Mavericks' goal was to chop up the game, take the Clippers out of a rhythm, force them to play Zubac, and stop them from attacking them in the basket. And they were pretty much able to accomplish all of these things. They were pretty much able to accomplish all of these things just by those two adjustments, just by starting off extremely big and playing zone. Now, to the credit of Paul George and others, you got to give them credit, because they were still trying to attack the basket. And to be fair to them, they actually put, I think in the first half, I think Kristaps Porzingis picked up 3 fouls. So they did a good job with him. I think the Dallas Mavericks, I think their game plan was this: we're going to live and die by whatever, by whatever Luka Doncic does. Whatever Luka Doncic does, we're going to live and die by him. And they said, basically, Luka is going to have to carry us to the finish line. Now, a lot of people are ranting and raving because Luka Doncic had 42 points. Personally, in my opinion, I think the Clippers did a good job by containing a lot of the other Dallas Mavericks players. Dallas scored 105 points. It wasn't like as if they scored 120. In game 4, they held the Dallas Mavericks to 81 points. But you can still hold a team to 100, 105. That's good. Luka Doncic scored 42 points. Yes, he did. But it took him 37 shots to do so. 37. He shot the ball 37 times to score 42 points. So if you look at the Clippers' job as far as the defense that they played on Luka, obviously you could always do a better job. But overall, they did a pretty good job. It wasn't so efficient. Now, if he had gotten 40 off of maybe 25, 26 shots, then you say he would have had an efficient 40 points. But it took him 37 shots to get 42 points. So the Clippers kind of did their job there. But anyway, that wasn't the game. That wasn't the game. That wasn't the game. The game was lost, or won and lost, in the fourth quarter. And that's the part I want to get down to. I want us to focus on the fourth quarter, the late game execution, or lack thereof of the Clippers. Let me tell you guys something. We won Dreamerspro Max. At a certain point, I was so perturbed. I was so bothered by what I was seeing in the fourth quarter. I couldn't believe the mental blunders that the Clippers are making. Ty Lue doesn't know how to use his bench and make subs properly. You know, talking about Ty Lue, thanks for that, Candace. Now that you're talking about Ty Lue, I think what we saw last night, because let me tell you something, guys. If I was a coach, which I'm not, and I'm not a basketball coach. I never played basketball like that. But if I was a coach, I would have had some difficulties trying to make in-game adjustments. In that game, you saw Rick Carlisle and the Dallas Mavericks coaching staff pretty much outcoach them. And Rick Carlisle basically said, you know what? We're going to throw a monkey wrench into what you guys are doing, and I'm going to force you guys to make in-game adjustments, and let me see what you can do. Let me see what you can do. Let me see if you can answer what we're doing in between quarters. It's no longer in between games. Because let me say this. Ty Lue, to be fair, Ty Lue did make an adjustment. Now, I think he made his adjustment too late. I would have gone small after game 1. He waited until game 3 in the first quarter and a quarter to go small. I think if they went small after game 2, maybe the Clippers would probably have 3 wins in this series. Probably, we'll never know. But it took the Dallas Mavericks, to be kind of fair to the Clippers too. Let's not just sit up here and beat up the Clippers. To be fair to it took the Dallas Mavericks, it took them 2 games to figure out how to counter the small ball lineup. It took them 2 games. It's not like I said, okay, the Clippers went small in game, game 3, and then Dallas tried to counter it. No, Dallas, it took them 2 games to figure that out. In game 4, they tried to play Boban, but it didn't really work. They played him in stretches, but it wasn't really as effective as I think they would have hoped it would have been, in just my opinion. This is just my personal opinion. So I think what Rick Carlisle and his coaching staff understood, and given the fact they had 2 days to kind of prepare, because I think this series is as much about the players that are playing and how they're performing on the court as much as it is about the coaches that are coaching and their strategies. Personally, this is what I believe. I think the playoffs comes down to players executing the strategy that the coaching staff puts forward. I think it comes down to players and coaches making in-game adjustments and saying, okay, this is working, this is not working, we need to change this, we need to change that. I think it comes down to having the smartest players on the court, being able to understand what's happening and also communicate that to players, taking messages from the bench, translating into players, making adjustments. I think that's really what it comes down to. I think it's all about X's and O's, in my personal opinion. And at that point, I think the Dallas Mavericks were scrambling. They had 2 days to try to figure it out. 2 days. And they had 2 days to try to figure it out. And in game 4, it didn't really work. But by them going back and looking at the tape, they say, you know what? Although we brought in Boban, that didn't really work. Let's try to throw a zone defense at them. And let's see how they play with that. Because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, even with Boban, Kawhi still shot like 60-something% in game 4. PG avoided getting into foul trouble. Rondo is not a fraud. So they had some difficulties yesterday. They did. Kudos to the Clippers and kudos to the Mavs for making their adjustments. Now, let's get late into that fourth quarter. For the people that were on Dreamerspro Max, you saw me. I think with about 3.5 minutes into the game, left in the game, I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated at what I was seeing. Why was I frustrated? Because the Clippers were pulling within striking distance. Think about this. The Dallas Mavericks went into the first quarter with 91 points. 91 points. I think after like 6 minutes, they had only made 1 basket. Think about this. The Clippers were down, I think, about 14 points in the fourth, starting the fourth quarter, because Dallas made a late rally at the end of the quarter, if you guys remember. Then the Clippers turn up their defense. They start playing defense. Paul George starts to really, really turn it up. If you guys don't know, Paul George scored 10 points in the fourth quarter. 10. And he was making some big baskets, whether or not he got fouled, whether or not he was supposed to be, whether or not they were supposed to call a foul, whatever the case may be, whether they called it or they didn't call it. he was playing through the contact. This is something that the coaching staff already communicated to them. Sometimes you're not going to get the call, and you got to play through it. Paul George was making big buckets. But towards the end of the game, you're making a late game run. You're trying to take an advantage in this series. And then what happens? In kind of like in succession, Kawhi Leonard has a turnover. Paul George has 2 turnovers. And Rajon Rondo has a turnover. 3 players on the court generate 4 turnovers in a span of like 2 minutes. And I could not believe what I was witnessing. I couldn't believe it. I said, you guys are knocking on the door and you're starting to just choke the game away. Now, it's hard to say you choke the game when you're playing from behind. It's hard to say that. I don't know how you can choke a game away from behind, but you were blowing all the opportunities that you needed to win that game. You guys are, this is the moment. As they say, carpe diem. You got to seize that moment if it's in front of you. This is it. This is for when this is the game that's going to give you guys a decided advantage to go out there and win this series. You have an opportunity to get ahead on these guys, and you start having turnovers. And I was saying it in the thing. I said the Clippers don't deserve to win this game. They don't deserve it. Why would the Clippers deserve winning a game like that? When you're coming down there, you're making turnovers, and you're shooting yourself in the foot. At a certain point, the refs didn't give you the call. The refs didn't do this, but this is under your control. You can control how you play with the ball. You can control that. So they turn over the ball, and somehow, some way, the Clippers find themselves, I don't even remember how, with I think a minute left, or 40 or 30 or 50, 40 seconds, under a minute, the Clippers ended up being down 1 point. It was 100 to 101. And I said to myself, okay, they got a shot. You see the Clippers coming down on the break. They're coming down on the fast. I believe it was on the fast break because I don't think they call a timeout. They called a timeout to run a play at the very end of the game. But we're talking about now, I think they didn't call a timeout for that last play. They're coming down the court. I think Paul George had the ball. He then gave the ball up to Terrence Mann, who should have probably given him back the ball quickly. Nevertheless, they gave up the ball to Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann, who is a sophomore in the NBA, a sophomore. It's only his 2nd year in the NBA. He's in a playoff game. Terrence Mann has a line to the basket. He's being guarded by Luka. If you guys go back and look at that last play, instead of Terrence Mann going up for the layup, do you know what he did? He tried to get the contact and the layup. He pokes his butt out as he tries to lay the ball up. He blows the layup. Not only does he blow the layup, Nicholas Batum, who's right under the basket, couldn't even secure the rebound to get the tip in. Now, are we going to say that I'm going to put that loss on Terrence Mann? Absolutely not. It's not fair to him. He's a 2nd-year player. There's no way I'm going to look at that entire game and say, you know what? Terrence Mann blew it for us in the last few minutes. Because if I'm going to do that, then why am I not putting the blame on Kawhi Leonard for having a turnover? Paul George for having 2 turnovers? Rajon Rondo for having 2 turnovers late in that 4th quarter? It's not fair. So should he have made the playoff, that layup? Absolutely. You got me. But I'm not going to put that on him. It's not fair. I'm sorry. I'm not putting that on him. Because last time I checked in the box score, Terrence Mann didn't have a turnover. He made some big plays down in the 4th. To be fair, he made some big plays. So he misses that layup. Fine. The Clippers foul the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas comes down. They hit 2 free throws. They go up 3. Then Ty Lue and the coaching staff draw up a play. Now, at this point, again, I said these games come down to coaching and players. The players are not the one drawing up the plays. At least I don't think so. The coaches are. So they go out there, they draw up a play. And somehow, some way, make sure you guys hit the like button, guys, so we get the notifications out. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Just hit the likes. Some people don't receive these notifications, so please make sure you go ahead and do that. I would appreciate that, so more people get notified of these lives. Appreciate that. Anyway, they draw up a play at the end of that fourth quarter. Somehow, Kawhi Leonard ends up with the ball on the baseline for a corner three. He ends up with a guy on him. I think Kawhi Leonard had at least 5 seconds to get a dribble, swing the ball, or something. Kawhi Leonard forces up a three-point shot and airballs the shot. He airballs it. Now, I'm sorry. At that point, yes, Terrence Mann blew the play and all of this stuff, but you're Kawhi freaking Leonard. You're Kawhi Leonard. You got to be better. Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player. He's my favorite player. Y'all know this. But I think one of the things that makes us a little bit different than some other basketball channels and people that cover sports and analyze basketball is that some people kind of are afraid to call out their favorite player. In this instance, I got to bring Kawhi Leonard. I got to hold his feet to the fire. As the best player on the Clippers, because I'm not going to go with the back and forth, is the best player on the court. As the best player on the Clippers roster, you got to get a better shot than that. Than a corner three where you basically heave a three. You don't really get a good look, and then you airball it. Number one. Number two, are you telling me they couldn't have ran a better play than that play? You're down 3. Isn't there anything else they could have run in the last minute? Inbound the ball in a different way, get him coming off a pin down, come up, flare up to the top of the key, try to make something happen. Isn't there something they could have ran? That's the play that you end up with. And then at the end, you want me to blame Terrence Mann? No. That blame ultimately goes on Kawhi Leonard. You know why? Because if they won that game and they win this series, Kawhi Leonard is going to get the majority of the credit. You gotta be better. I'm sorry, you gotta be better. Y'all know Kawhi's my favorite player. Y'all know this. Y'all know that. But you gotta be better. And this is one of the fundamental differences between Kawhi Leonard and my favorite player of all time, Kobe Bryant. Kobe had a knack for creating his own shot under difficult circumstances. If you go look at some of the shots that Kobe used to hit, he would create a shot out of nothing. You're like, how did this guy even get the ball up? How did he even get the ball up? And in that instant, Kawhi Leonard is not the creator or the offensive player that Kobe is. Kobe would have been able to get a better look than that. I've seen him do it a number of times. I would have seen him doing a number of times. I think Kevin Durant in that moment would have been able to somehow get a pull-up hezzy. He would have made them inbound him the ball probably towards the half-court mark, come down, dance on you, and pull up for a 3. I think KD would have did that. Just my opinion. I don't know this. But I think Kobe and KD would have got a better shot. And I think probably in that moment, maybe Kawhi doesn't practice enough of those type of shots. Maybe the Clippers don't run those type of plays enough. I don't know what it was. But I got to put that on. I got to put that on them. Second thing I want to say, thank you guys again for hitting the like button. We almost hit 400 people. I appreciate every single one of you guys for joining us for this live. We got a lot more that we want to discuss, so please just stick around with us. We've only been in here for 30 minutes or so, so I know some new people are coming in, so just hang around, and we got some more stuff that we want to talk about. So thank you guys for that. Thank you so much for that. Anyway, one final point I want to make about this Kawhi thing. Yesterday we did a live? Yesterday we did a preview of game 5. And I said, what did we discuss? I said that I want to see if the Clippers have that killer mentality, that assassin's mentality. You guys remember I said that. I said that now they have all of the momentum on their side. They had just gone back, beating the Dallas Mavericks 2-0. 2 games in a row. You have an opportunity to really put your foot on the neck and really take control of this series. And now you got to go out there and win this game and show me your championship medal. Because to be fair to the Clippers also, when they were down, I think 21 points in the first quarter in game 3, they fought back. So I was willing to see if they were willing to take it the next step. Another thing I want to say, I think Paul George showed me something yesterday. Although he made some mistakes, anybody can make a mistake. Anybody can make a mistake. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, all of them can make a mistake. But the difference with Paul George is he was making a mistake being aggressive. If Paul George doesn't score 10 points in the fourth quarter, the Clippers are not in that game. Kawhi Leonard, if I check, how many points did Kawhi Leonard have in the fourth quarter? Give me a second, guys. Let me pull it up. Kawhi scored 5 points in the fourth. Marcus Morris Sr. hit 1 3. He scored 3. Nicholas Batum scored 2 points. Paul George scored 10. He was actually 50% in the 4. And he hit all 4 of his free throws. And he hit, did he hit a 3? No, he missed a 3. Reggie Jackson hit 3. And he had a 3. And Rondo missed both of his shots. And Terrence Mann had 1 shot, in which case, I don't know how he ended up at 1 point. How did he end up at 1 point? No, 2 points. Sorry, 2 points. I thought he hit a free throw. But Paul George was trying to win the game. I give him credit for that. He was being aggressive. Some people criticized LeBron in the last game. Oh, they said LeBron wasn't aggressive enough. At least Paul George was being aggressive. Last year, he would have completely ran away from the moment. He would have completely ran away from the moment. 1 second, let me plug in this light here. He would have ran away from the moment. He would have ran away from that moment. So kudos to him. But I was very, very, very disappointed in the Clippers that they didn't show that championship resolve. I was saying it yesterday. I said the game against Kobe Bryant and the Denver Nuggets in the playoff, when Kobe was saying, we got him now. No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, no mercy. Keep pushing. And I thought that they would go out there and show me something. But they didn't. If PG didn't get into foul trouble, it would have been a different story. Yes, thanks for that, Ken. Yes. But you know what? Paul George, I'm not going to hold anything against Paul George. Because if we take a kind of macro look at it, compared to how he performed last year in the playoffs, he tried this time. He tried. But for goodness sake, you got Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is the better player between Paul George and between the two of them. Kawhi got to deliver in that moment. So I said that. Let's move forward. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us here. Moving forward. The Clippers need to make some adjustments in Game 6. They need to make some adjustments. The problem is, I don't know what those adjustments are going to be. I don't know what those adjustments are going to be. LeBron, king of LA, all right, whatever. All right. People from LA, y'all let me know. Is LeBron the king of LA? Y'all let me know. 1 title? Y'all got 17 championships, 1 title, and that's the king of LA? Hey, that's your town, man. Anyway, the Clippers need to make adjustments in Game 6. The problem is, I'm not sure of the exact adjustments they need to make. I don't know what they have to do. Because after Dallas went zone, well, for sure, the Clippers are going to have to practice playing against the zone. That's the first thing. They're going to have to figure out a way to get some dribble penetration to play against the zone. Because Dallas will not change up their game plan. The minute the Clippers figured out and they committed to playing small ball, they won 2 games in a row in the series, and they tied up the series. And you saw in Game 5, they went back to that small ball, and basically Ty Lue and the coaching staff said, okay, we're not going to change this until you figure out a way to beat it, which makes perfect sense. The same thing the Dallas Mavericks did in Game 1 and Game 2. Now, if the Dallas Mavericks, when they play the Clippers on Friday tomorrow, you better believe that the Dallas Mavericks are going to start big and they're going to run a zone until the Clippers figure out how to play against the zone. Now, I do have one recommendation. And you guys can let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. I have one recommendation if I was the coach, which I'm not, obviously. What I would do is this. I would still keep playing small. I would still keep playing small ball. That's something for sure I would definitely do. However, I would make one change to the starting lineup. I would start Rajon Rondo over Reggie Jackson. That would be the adjustment I would make. I would start Rondo over Reggie Jackson. And some of you guys may say, why would you start Rondo? Why would you start Rondo? Because I would start Rondo because of his ability to dribble and penetrate. Rondo is very good at puncturing the zone. He is a maestro at that. You need somebody that can penetrate that zone defense, puncture it, and get players to move while he's doing that to create open gaps. Rondo is a maestro at that. If you look at Reggie Jackson versus Rondo, if you look at Reggie, a lot of times what happened when they gave him the ball with about 5-6 seconds left to go, what does he do? He dances on you, and you know he's going to pull up for a three. He's rarely going to dribble into the go into the paint. At a certain point in the second half, you saw Kawhi Leonard attacking inside, trying to puncture that defense. I think you need another ball handler like Rondo that can dribble, penetrate, and try to find a way and figure out a way to get inside the zone defense. And I think you need some great ball movement and player movement, but you need somebody that can puncture that defense. That'll be the adjustment. I would sit Reggie. I would start Rondo. This is just my personal, This is just my personal, recommendation. That's what I would do. Thank you guys again for hitting the likes. Don't forget to hit the likes, guys. Let's try to get the likes to about 150 likes so more people get notified. I'm sure a lot of people are missing this live, which is unfortunate, but just try to send the likes out there so we get people notified about this. Anyway, that's what I would do. Now, let me say this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a tough one. This is not going to be an easy game 6 to win for two reasons. The first reason is I'm sure that some of the Clippers players feel like they had an opportunity to win that game. They feel like we came close, we were almost there, and we kind of blew this opportunity. That's the first thing, which can have a psychological effect, a carryover effect. That's the first thing. The second thing is this. You now got to go back into Dallas, and you got to figure out a way to make an adjustment to beat this team. And that's no walk in the park. It's no walk in the park. For whatever reason, the Dallas Mavericks match up very well with the Clippers. For whatever reason, Luka Doncic plays extremely well against the Los Angeles Clippers. If you look at the matchups between the Clippers and the Lakers, it's not the same thing. It's not like as if LeBron is out there scoring 40, 50, 45, 37. It's not like that. The Clippers have a better job kind of playing against the Lakers and kind of containing what the Lakers are trying to do. But whenever it's against this team, for whatever reason, I don't know what the case is, they can't seem to keep Luka Doncic in front of them. Let me also say this. The Clippers can lose game 6 in this series. It's possible. Because if the Dallas Mavericks come out and they hit if they punch the Clippers in the mouth, the Clippers, if they're not able to kind of, weather the storm, if they're like disoriented, the Clippers may lose that game and they may get blown away early. And you don't want to get into a situation like that where you're now fighting for your playoff life in a game like that. You don't want to do that. So it's going to be a tough one. It's going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to your mental fortitude. Luckily, the Clippers have already been in this situation twice before. Can they answer again? Can they answer the bell again? Do I think they will? I have no idea. Because I don't even know what adjustments they need to make. I don't know. Thank God I'm not an NBA coach. This is not my job. We're still learning this thing. We've only been covering basketball for 2 years. I mean, I've watched basketball casually as a casual fan, but I've never covered it like this. Pat Rondo is an alpha. Kawhi and George are 2 betas. The Clippers have 0 leadership, run everything through Rondo. He's the only vocal leader on the team. Well, thank you for that. This is what you get when you end up in scenarios like this. Now, is Kawhi Leonard? I don't know that. I don't know Kawhi Leonard. But these are the type of thoughts that get generated when the Clippers give up big games like this. These are going to be the type of questions. And I don't know what they're going to do. Let me say this. If some of you guys feel like, listen, I have some recommendations, I have some thoughts, I don't know what to say. On Dreamerspro Max, we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. We sit back and talk junk all the time about basketball. If you guys feel like y'all have some recommendations, if you guys want to talk about it, sign up to Dreamerspro Max. Marco's going to post that in the description below. Get 7 days of access. Let's talk about this thing because I don't know. Maybe y'all can give some suggestions. Maybe we can come together, huddle up. Somebody can figure out what Ty Lue's email is, and one of the coaching staff send him an email. I don't know what to do. The only suggestion I have is to start Paul George. Rajon Rondo, and play more zone. Those are the only two. And play against the zone. That's the only suggestion I have. And I'm not a coach, so I don't know. Another thing I want to say. I know some of y'all are sitting out there thinking, oh my God, okay, if the Clippers lose, then what? Is Kawhi Leonard going to leave? Is he going to go to Is he going to go to the Miami Heat? I know some people saying, oh, Kawhi packing it. Ladies, guys, we don't know what's going to happen. We haven't even gotten to that point yet. Let's get through game 6 and let's see what happens. Let them go out there. Let them play in game 6, and then we'll figure that out. How about we don't put ourselves under that type of pressure? I know some of you guys are saying, oh, well, if the Kawhi Leonard loses, I know Kawhi Leonard is his favorite player. And is he going to stop covering the Clippers? No, I'm going to rock out with the Clippers, and I'm going to still cover the team Kawhi Leonard plays with. I'm going to rock out with the Clippers because I wanted them to win. No, we're not doing any of that. All I'm saying is don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun. Let me say this last thing about the Lakers and the Suns. Make sure you guys hit the likes so we try to get the likes up to 200 likes. Make sure we get the likes. Kawhi leads quietly by example. But if your teammates don't have your ability, they can't follow by example. Rondo will literally tell them what to do. Good point. That's why I said I think they should start Rondo. I think the Clippers are running out of options here, but I don't know. I'm not a coach, so I don't know what to do as far as that. Real quick, let's talk about the Lakers versus the Suns. I'm not sure if Anthony Davis is going to be playing tonight. I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to be playing tonight. I have no idea if AD is going to be available tonight. If he's not available, to be quite honest with you guys, I think the Lakers are going to go home tonight. I think the Phoenix Suns are going to take advantage of the Lakers for one reason, or for two reasons. Number one, Chris Paul. Chris Paul is hungry. Chris Paul is hyper competitive. Kobe said the most competitive person he's been around, I think one of them is Chris Paul. He's hyper competitive. So I think Chris Paul is going to want to stick it to the Lakers. And I think Devin Booker looks hungry. He's been aggressive. He will not be deterred. I think he had like 30-plus points in the last game. So I think if AD doesn't play tonight, I think the Lakers season comes to an end. Unless LeBron James puts up a virtuoso, as Shannon Sharp likes to say. But to be quite honest, LeBron is 36 years old. This is not a knock on him. The guy is old. He's not old like, oh my God, he's an old man. But you can't expect, rabbit tricks for him to pull out rabbits out of his hat at the age of 36. Some people expect LeBron to go out there, facilitate the game, score 50, play defense. How many people is he? How many people is he? He's one person. So if the Lakers lose tonight, I'm going to be stunned if the Lakers lose tonight. I think all of you guys are going to be stunned. But if the Clippers lose and the Lakers lose, guys, I don't know what to say at that point. We need to come together, huddle up, and have a coming together moment and figure out what we're going to do next. I think the Laker fans and the Clippers fans, y'all need to get together, like how the Bloods and the Crips be getting together. Y'all need to go together, get a barbecue, and huddle up and try to figure out what the heck to do. Because no one would have seen that one coming, that the Lakers and the Clippers get knocked out in round one. First of all, if that happens, I'm going to be rooting for Brooklyn. And if Brooklyn gets knocked out by the Milwaukee Bucks, I don't even know what to say anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen. But it's going to be bananas. Tonight, if AD doesn't play, I think the Lakers don't win. I don't think Andre Drummond is going to go out there and give you a 20-20 game. I think the Lakers, what they need is to generate offense. That's what I think needs to happen. Somebody just mentioned Snoop Dogg. You saw Spike Lee throw on his book bag, put on his hat, turn around, and walk the hell out of Madison Square Garden when the Knicks were down, and like I think with 10 minutes left to go in the game or 5 minutes left in the game. He was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm going to go home and go take a bath and drink me some wine and forget about my sorrows. Y'all see Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg finna do the same thing. I've never heard Snoop Dogg come on TV and start like, man, this is right. When Snoop Dogg is talking about the Clippers, might not be that bad. You know LA's in trouble. Y'all know LA team's in trouble. Now, we need at least one of these teams in the Western Conference because, ladies and gentlemen, if the Clippers get knocked out, if the Lakers get knocked out, and if somehow Brooklyn is able to make it past Milwaukee, the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the finals. They're going to win the finals because y'all may say, well, how's that so? Who's the team that you believe in the Western Conference? If it's not the Lakers, if it's not the Clippers, who do you think is going to beat Brooklyn in the West? It's going to be Utah, probably. Utah is probably going to go to the finals because I think Utah is going to be able to beat the Dallas Mavericks. So I think it's going to be Utah. But if that happens, I don't know. I'm late, but please tell me why Boogie isn't playing. The reason DeMarcus Cousins isn't playing is this. DeMarcus Cousins creates the similar problem that Ivica Zubac does, except he's a little bit different. DeMarcus Cousins plays with more physicality. He can stretch the floor, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to move his feet quick enough to stay in front of Luka Doncic on the switch. Lakers are done. AD can't stay healthy. LeBron is full of excuses. LeBron refused to play. He's actually positioned, and his teams will suffer for it. Well, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs about LeBron and this guy, but I know to answer the first question, I'll get to the second comment here. I think that's the reason why Boogie's not playing. I just don't think it's the right series for him. I think if the Clippers were playing against the what's the team? The Utah Jazz, then you would have a shot. Then you would see more minutes, him playing more minutes, because you have Rudy Gobert. So the Utah Jazz are going to play big, although they're a very good three-point shooting team. I just think it's not the series for him. As far as Serge Ibaka, let me just say this about Serge, and I'll get to your final point about the Lakers. Let me get to Serge. Let me tell you something. I like Serge. Okay, my parents are West African, so listen. Serge Ibaka, you haven't played not a single game in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I think you only played one game. You're showing up to games like as if you're in the middle of the runway in Milan Fashion Week or in Paris. Listen, nobody wants this. Nobody cares what you're wearing. Nobody does. People want to see you on the court. They don't want to see you with your bucket hat and your yellow jacket trying to make a fashion statement. Nobody cares. We want you there because we want you to win, to help the team win. Secondly, sir, he looks fresh. Somebody say he didn't look fresh, but this is a basketball game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Second of all, I see Serge posting music videos on his story. I don't know if Serge Ibaka just said, you know what, man, I'm going to LA. I'm going to take the year off. I'm just going to relax. I don't know what's happening with Serge. I really expected much. But to be quite honest with you, for the entire year that Serge was there, what did Serge give the Clippers? 30 games, 35 games? That was a bit of a disappointment. It was a bit of a disappointment. And if the Clippers lose this series, I don't even know what changes they're going to have to make. Can they come back and win it all? Probably. Because I remember the Boston Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, their first year together against the Atlanta Hawks. They won 7 games in round 1. And we thought they were going to get knocked out then because they won 60 games that season. They had a hell of a first round opponent that they played. And I think they even played 2 7-game series just to get to the finals, and they made it to the finals. But that team had a lot of mental fortitude. They had a lot of mental fortitude. They made it out of that round. Are the Clippers going to do the same? Nobody knows. To close this thing off, to answer this thing about what's the thing? Where's the comment about AD? No. Where is it? Stay healthy. LeBron is full of excuses. I don't know what's happening with the Lakers. Some people are saying that if LeBron loses this thing, is it going to have an impact on his legacy? I don't think it will. He can shut down Porzingis. Ty Lue can't make adjustments. LeBron was okay. Again, if you bring Boogie on the court, what's his name? Kristaps Porzingis is not the problem. What's his name? Kristaps Porzingis is not the problem. So 7-11, from the 3, and LeBron is 15-38. All the Lakers are combined. Yeah, it's crazy. The Lakers were never a good 3-point shooting team. I think they were in the mid-20s as far as 3-point shooting. But anyway, thanks for that. Let me get to this comment here. If you bring a Boogie on the floor, you got to think about what you're also giving up. You bring Boogie on the floor, Luka Doncic is going to search for him. Boogie can't. It's going to be more the same with Luka. Let me look at Kristaps Porzingis. Let me look at his numbers this series, because I don't think Kristaps Porzingis has even been a threat. Guys, let me give you guys Kristaps Porzingis numbers these playoffs. He's not a threat. He's averaging 13.8 points per game, 14 points. He's shooting 47% from the field. He's only attempting 10 shots. He's making 37% from his threes, 80% from the free throw line. He's getting you 4.4 rebounds, 1 assist per game. Not even a block. Kristaps Porzingis is not the issue. Kristaps Porzingis is not the issue, because the Clippers have been finding a way to put him in foul trouble and all of that. It's Luka. Luka Doncic is the one that makes that entire thing go. So for me, I don't know what solution I have. I've already given you guys my recommendations. To conclude with the Lakers, I think that the Lakers tonight, if AD doesn't play, I think they lose. I think they lose. And if the Clippers lose on Friday, as I said before, the two LA teams, LA fan bases, y'all need to have a coming together moment. Number one, y'all got to figure out a way to squash this beef, because both of y'all teams is out now. Y'all got to figure out who y'all going to root for. Number one. Number two, what are the questions going to be around AD's health moving forward? There are going to be so many questions surrounding this team. Is Anthony Davis going to be healthy again? That's the next question. Is Kawhi Leonard going to leave? If Kawhi Leonard does decide to leave, what's this about LeBron laughing during the Mavs Clippers game? The Lakers on the same. Is it? I don't know if it's true. I don't know if LeBron is laughing. He probably is. But I guess they're both going to be laughing at each other when they're passing each other in the hallway when they're getting ready to go on vacation, because both of those teams may be going home. But anyway, if Kawhi Leonard decides to leave, where's he going to go? If Kawhi does leave, which I think there's a possibility, I for sure think Kawhi Leonard is going to go to the East Coast. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to go to the East Coast, to one of those Eastern Conference teams. What team will he go to? I have no idea. And I don't even want to go through the mental gymnastics of thinking about that now, because, guys, the finals are going to end in July. So it makes no sense for us to sit up here and start talking about where Kawhi Leonard is going. Makes no sense. Let's focus on the series. The series is not over. If the Clippers lose, it was a major disappointment. The haters are going to come out and laugh at me. No problem. I take it on the chin. I picked the Clippers, and I was wrong. If the Clippers lose, no problem. I was wrong. If Kawhi Leonard leaves, I'm going to still support the Clippers. We're still going to make content around him, and I'm going to talk about my man Kawhi Leonard, and we're going to rock out just like that. That's all I got to say with that. So once again, thank you guys for everything. We really appreciate that. Again, if you guys want to live chat with us during these games for tonight and tomorrow, make sure you guys go ahead and make sure you guys go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, our sports online community. We're going to post that. Marco's going to post that in the comment section there. You guys can chat live during games, talk about basketball, consume original content that you're not going to get anywhere else, and get it for 7 days access. You guys can go out there and vent about your frustrations and talk about all of that. So Marco will post that there. For the people that are going to miss this live, we're going to post that in the description below, so you guys can go out there and definitely check that out. But once again, man, I really appreciate all of you guys being a part of this, and we definitely catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.